and Hong Kong are connected. We all do our best with what we have to achieve a bright future together.
RTHK News.
7 people have been awarded the Grand Bohemia Medal in this year's honours list. As Violet Wong reports, there are 746 awards this year, the highest ever.
The top prizes went to Chief Justice Andrew Cheng, Secretary for Justice Teresa Cheng, Executive Councillors Regina Ip and Chow Chung Kong, the Chairman of Kowloon Federation of Associations Bunny Chan, as well as 2 pro-Beijing businessmen Jonathan Choi and Lo Man Toon. 18 people were awarded the Gold Bohemia Star, including judges, lawmakers and senior civil servants. Pro-Beijing legal scholar Alfred Chen and former Director of Public Prosecutions Grenville Cross were also given this award. There are 746 awards this year, the highest number ever. A total of 500 people were awarded the Chief Executive's Commendation for Community Service and Public Service. A government spokesman said there was an exceptionally large number of awards, as special recognition was given to those involved in the fight against the COVID pandemic in the past year.
The police have appealed to the public not to join, advertise or publicise any unauthorised assemblies and prohibited gatherings. Sources have told RTHK that the police plan to deploy more than 10,000 officers across the city to prevent people from gathering on the 24th anniversary of the handover. Francis Sitt reports.
RTHK has learned that the police deployment will be of a similar scale to that on June 4th, when scores of officers stopped people from entering Victoria Park to commemorate the 1989 Tiananmen Square massacre. The park and its vicinity will again see a strong police presence. Sources told RTHK that if the situation calls for it, the park may be sealed off. More officers will be on patrol, and the force's counter-terrorism response unit will also be mobilized, while other officers remain on standby.
Police say that several bottles of combustible material were thrown near the slope of Government House on Lower Albert Road, causing a fire. They say the incident happened at about 2 a.m. Firefighters put out the fire and no one was hurt. Bomb disposal personnel were also sent to the scene. The police condemned the action and said violence will not be tolerated. The incident is being investigated. Activist Chow Hang-tung of the Hong Kong Alliance in support of patriotic democratic movements in China has been arrested again. She's been charged with promoting this year's June 4th candlelight vigil, which was banned by the authorities. Here's Violet Wong again.
Ms. Chow was arrested on June the 4th on suspicion of publicizing an annual vigil marking the 1989 Tiananmen Square massacre. She was granted bail and was due to report to the police next week. Police have now decided to charge the vice chairwoman of the alliance with inciting others to join an unauthorized assembly on June the 4th. In a press briefing, Superintendent Chen Chi-cheng also said Ms. Chow was arrested for allegedly publicizing and calling on people to join a banned rally on Thursday's handover anniversary. But he refused to say if the activist had called on people to take part in the rally before or after an appeals board upheld the police ban, saying investigations are still ongoing.
Ms. Chow will appear before the Sha Tin magistracy tomorrow. The Hong Kong Alliance condemned the arrest and demanded her immediate release. President Biden says the United States is badly behind in its preparations and has to play catch-up in a year when the threat of wildfires in western states is as severe as it's ever been. Mr. Biden told a virtual meeting of state governors that extreme heat was a threat.
People are hurting. It's more dangerous for kids to play outside. Roads are buckling under the heat. I need not tell all of you. We need people to check on their neighbors, especially seniors who may need a helping hand. Outdoor laborers, like our farm and construction workers, are going to need frequent water breaks and shade.
The former U.S. Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld has died at the age of 88. He was one of the most influential but also controversial members of the administration of President George W. Bush. The BBC's Mike Thompson reports.
Donald Rumsfeld was always a political bruiser. As head of the Pentagon at the time of the 9/11 attacks, he shot to prominence as the chief architect of the U.S. military response in Afghanistan, with his pithy, sometimes quixotic public utterances like the known unknowns. But he also came to be seen as an uncompromising and divisive foreign policy hawk, especially as war in Iraq loomed. He was widely blamed as Iraq descended into bloody post-invasion chaos, as well as for various detainee abuse scandals, including Abu Ghraib. Supporters say that's unfair, and that he left an important legacy in helping to modernize the U.S. military.
The American former actor and comedian Bill Cosby has been released from prison after Pennsylvania's Supreme Court overturned his sex assault conviction. It found that an agreement with a previous prosecutor should have prevented the 83-year-old from being charged in the case. Bill Cosby has served just over 2 years of a 3 to 10-year sentence. The BBC's David Willis reports.
Once hailed as America's dad, he was convicted of drugging and molesting a woman at his Philadelphia home, the first celebrity conviction of its kind in the Me Too era. At Cosby's first trial, the judge allowed another accuser to give evidence against him. That resulted in a deadlocked jury, and in a second trial, 5 other accusers gave evidence about their experience with him in the 1980s. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court said that testimony tainted the proceedings and has ruled that he was denied a fair trial.
U.S. media are reporting that Donald Trump's company and its chief financial officer are expected to be charged with tax-related crimes in a few hours' time. The Manhattan District Attorney and the New York State Attorney General have been investigating whether Alan Weisselberg and other executives avoided paying taxes on perks such as private school tuition from the Trump Organization. The European Commission has agreed to extend by 3 months a post-Brexit grace period for the free movement of chilled British meat products between the British mainland and Northern Ireland, just hours before it was due to expire. It will now run till the end of September. Maros Sefcovic is a Vice President of the Commission.
We are not issuing a blank cheque. This solution is of temporary nature in which strong conditions are attached, meaning that the UK must fulfil clear obligations. Standards for these products must remain unchanged.
Under the terms of the Brexit agreement, Northern Ireland has remained within the EU single market, and the EU does not allow the import of chilled meats from third countries. A number of local journalists in Myanmar who were detained while covering anti-coup protests are among those who've been released from prison. Video that appeared to be from Yangon showed family and relatives clapping and crying as the prisoners got off a bus. Earlier, the authorities confirmed a plan to release 2,000 people nationwide. Some of those freed were arrested in the first days following the coup in February the 1st. Finance now, and the S&P 500 eked out its 5th straight record closing high as investors ended the month and the quarter by largely shrugging off positive economic data and focusing on tomorrow night's employment report. The Dow rose 0.6% to 34,502. The S&P gained 0.1% to 4,297, and the Nasdaq dropped 0.2% to 14,503. All 3 indexes posted their 5th consecutive quarterly gains. Football, and Tottenham say they've appointed former Wolves boss Nuno Espirito Santo as their new manager, ending their long search for a replacement for Jose Mourinho. Spurs have been without a permanent boss since Mourinho was sacked in April. Everton hired Rafael Benitez as their new manager despite fan protests against the Premier League club's decision to hire the former Liverpool boss. Benitez has agreed a 3-year contract with Everton. And The Bahraini athlete Salwa Aidasa, who is the women's world champion at 400 metres, has been given a 2-year ban over a case of a missed drugs test. The weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow is mainly cloudy, with a few showers. There'll be isolated thunderstorms tomorrow morning. Right now, it's 30 degrees and 80% humidity. That's all the news from RTHK.
Thanks, Barry. Good morning. This is Radio 3 live from Hong Kong. A triple holiday today. It's Establishment Day here in Hong Kong. It's a holiday in mainland China for the centenary of the CCP. It's also Canada Day as well. So plenty of reasons to have the day off. And stick with me till 10 o'clock. Radio 3.